What's up, fam? Look at us. Brandon Walker, more Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. Well, I guess I am Brandon Walker, coming to you from beautiful, cold Dunwoody, Georgia. We are back in the SEC Country studios after a weekend in Jacksonville. Got my son right here to my left, Thomas Brandon Walker Jr. Off to a good start here in 2018. Wow, that was fun. That was a fun game the other day. That was a good time had by all. I was not expecting it. I was an idiot. I was stupid. I was wrong. And I will apologize for it on this show. I will tell you how wrong I was on this show. I'll tell you just how badly I missed that game. But Mississippi State comes out in the TaxSlayer Bowl and finishes 2017 the right way. What an incredible game. What an incredible day. It was awesome. It was awesome. The way it started, I was like, well, we got a chance. Then the officials took over for a while. Mississippi State had some bad breaks, but Keaton Thompson would not let Mississippi State lose. Jeffrey Simmons would not let Mississippi State lose. Nobody would let Mississippi State lose. So, yeah, it was something. It was something. Yeah, elephant in the room here. Thomas Brandon Walker Jr. right here beside me. Oh, you hit me. Okay, fist bump. Thomas, who's your favorite football player?
Dak Prescott.
That's right. That is correct. Okay, calm down. So, today on the show, we're going to talk about the game. We'll talk about Lamar Jackson. We'll talk about Keaton Thompson. We'll talk about – go ahead and play that game. It's fine. We'll talk about the coaching staff. We'll talk about all that. We'll talk about everything we need to talk about because there's so much that came out of that. I met so many people this weekend. So many people that watch the show, that listen to the show, Kenny Manning and Possum Ridge. I met so many people that I made a small list here. I met probably 30 or 40 people that have talked to the show, that are fans of the show, that are friends of the show. Chris Thomas from here in Georgia, Jess Hardy, friend of the show, Josh Yeager, big-time friend of the show, Glenn Duncan, who brought me Top Gun, the movie, to watch on DVD. An 8-year-old named Peyton. I didn't get Peyton's last name, but it was awesome to meet him. Michael Taylor's mom. Just great to see everybody. We had a good time in Jacksonville. It wasn't huge. The attendance wasn't huge, but it was very energetic. It was a great Mississippi State contingent. I had a very, very good time in Jacksonville, and I think if you ask any State fans that went, they would tell you the same thing. So, do you want to go in that room, or do you want to sit out here? You want to sit out here? Okay. So, yeah, let's go ahead and check with Facebook Live. We'll do the podcast in about 5 minutes. Until then, let's check where everybody's talking about. Tom Frazier, we were outstanding in the Lamar Jackson Bowl. I didn't see it on TV, so I know that everybody said the announcing was horrible and completely slanted toward Lamar Jackson. I didn't see it, though, so I'll have to take your word for it. It does sound like something ESPN would do. I mean, it doesn't sound like anything out of the ordinary to me. Happy New Year, Brian Johns. Hail State, Myron Johnson. Paul Harden says the future is so bright, I need 2 pairs of shades. Homer McElwain, we'll talk about recruiting another day. Today's going to be all about the TaxSlayer Bowl. There are targets out there that State will go out and try to get. There are targets out there that have decommitted, whatever. I'm not giving anybody the time of day for an orchestrated New Year's Day flip or whatever that was. Well, we don't need to talk about that. Hail State from Palatka, Florida. Ready for the 2018 season, says John Kelly. I got a hug from Chauncey Rivers. No big deal, says Mark West. I also met Mark West. Didn't hug him, but I met him. Hail State from Carthage, Mississippi, says Mark Golden. Carthage, down there in Leake County, I think. Calm down. A lot of secondaries are going to be fearful next year. Yeah, this team is going to be loaded in 2018. This was always a setup season, but it was really an enjoyable setup season. Yeah, State was very, very good this year with one bad loss, one inexcusable loss. But if you can get past that, it was a very, very fun year. Can I get a shout-out for this year since I never got one all of last year? Randy Shumpert, you can get a shout-out. Shout-out to Randy Shumpert. Hail State from Columbus, Mississippi. Glenn McClellan. That's my son, Thomas. He wanted to come to work with Daddy today because he's the only child that hasn't been to work with me yet. So he is, he's camera ready, apparently. Look at him. Look at that blonde hair. He's much more photogenic than I am. Hail State from Auburn, Mississippi. Louisville was a fraud except for Lamar. I don't think they were a fraud. They were unranked. They're 8-4. I think they are what we thought they were. They were an average ACC team. Lamar Jackson's a phenomenal football player. But Louisville, I don't think was a fraud because nobody really thought they were all that. They were that great shakes. Hail State from Dallas, Texas. Bill Hurt says no head coach, no offensive coordinator, no defensive coordinator, no starting quarterback, no receivers, no problem. Hail State. Hail State from Kosciuszko. Hello, Sammy Beasley. Hail State from Brandon with my new baby boy. Congratulations, Matt Weisinger. You got a new baby boy. One day it'll turn into this, and he'll be taking a nap on your show. Are you tired? What's going on with you? Put your glasses on. Happy New Year, Glenn Duncan. Hail State from Chickasha, Oklahoma. So we got about 2 more minutes, and we'll get this podcast started. Terp, how you doing, buddy?
Tired.
Did you go out last night?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
You did. That's irresponsible. I stayed up. Calm down. I watched it at my house.
You watched the New York one?
Yes. I watched that one.
Brandon Adams was telling me that since he's in the West Coast, and they're 12 o'clock, they just replay the New York feed.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't care about Brandon Adams and what he says. Okay? This is my show.
Go Dogs.
It's the Brandon Walker Show. Hail State from Panama City Beach, Florida. This MSU mama is so proud. Christine Jacobs Terabon. Chickasha. I'm sorry, Steve C. My bad. Finally getting to hear live. I usually have to watch later. Jonathan Philly. Well, there you go. I'm glad to have you. Almost 200 people here today. We should have 200 by the time this podcast kicks off. Is Landshark in, or is she self-imposing a Bowl Edition podcast ban? No, she's here. She is definitely here. Hail State from Calhoun City. Anybody you want to talk to? I'm right here. Why did you say hi, Daddy? I'm right here. I'm literally sitting beside you. All right. So we're having a good time. Hey, it was awesome. I was gone for 3 days at the TaxSlayer Bowl, so I come home. He wanted to go to work with me, so I said yes. Hail State from Woodstock, Georgia, right up I-575. Good to see you in Woodstock. He said you be quiet. Hail State from Mobile, Alabama. Are we going to keep the interim head coach? No. Greg Knox will be elsewhere. He did a great job for what he was asked to do. He did exactly what he was asked to do. And you tip your hat to him. He is going elsewhere. I don't know who else will be on the staff, but I'm certain Greg Knox will not be. So precious. Thank you, Bonnie Williamson Gable. I brushed my hair a different way today. I am precious. Thank you. All right, that's a good place to get you ready, Terp.
Sure thing.
All right, play my music.
The More Cowbell Show, brought to you by SEC Country. And now, your host of the More Cowbell Show, Brandon Walker.
That's me, More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. Having a good time here in Dunwoody, Georgia. We are back in the SEC Country studios, coming to you from, home base. I was in Jacksonville from Thursday till Saturday night. I had a good time. What a great time to be a Mississippi State Bulldog. What a great game. What a great atmosphere. Just an incredible turn of events. I did not see it coming. This whole show will be me apologizing to that. This whole show will be me saying I'm sorry. I was an idiot. Mississippi State interim coach Greg Knox makes me look like an idiot, as I thought Mississippi State would not win that football game. But they did. State goes down to Jacksonville, makes a statement behind a true freshman quarterback, behind one of the best defensive lines in the SEC and in the country, and makes a definitive statement heading into 2018. We'll finish the year ranked probably around the 17, 18, 19 mark. Should be a top 15 team coming in 2018. We have got plenty to talk about. Today, we're on Facebook Live right now, as we are every single day at 10:45 Central. Today we went a little later because we got a lot of stuff going on here at SEC Country. You know, they have two teams in the playoff tonight, so we decided to go a little late today to accommodate them. However, this is all about Mississippi State. This is all about Keaton Thompson. This is all about beating Louisville. It's all about finishing this year in a positive. It's all about getting past the last coaching regime, getting to the next one, and in the meantime, an interim coaching staff did a phenomenal job. They did an amazing job. Today on the show, we're going to talk about how I was wrong with the TaxSlayer Bowl. We'll talk about Keaton Thompson, that freshman out of New Orleans, and how key he was to the victory. We'll talk about this interim coaching staff and give them the props they deserve. We'll give them the credit they deserve. And then we'll look towards 2018. What a start for 2018. What a way to finish this season and springboard into 2018. And then today's top five, the top five individual performances from the TaxSlayer Bowl. It should be fun. Before we get into it, you know, every day, ever since I started this podcast, people have been asking for advice. Usually it's what team to bet on this week. Well, let me tell you this. Where you're betting at is just as important as who you're betting on, so that's why I always tell people to go to mybookie.ag. MyBookie has been in this business for years, and their rep is rock solid. They do 100% cash bonuses, so off the bat you're making money for doing nothing, and they have the fastest payouts, just 2 business days. They have in-game live betting, the most rewarding player perks in the business, and an all-new mobile site that makes wagering on the go a breeze. Join now, and MyBookie will match your deposit up to 100% bonus. Use the promo code Cowbell to activate your offer. Visit mybookie.ag today. Boy, oh boy, here we go. First, let me say this. I went to Jacksonville, and there was a sizable Mississippi State contingent in Jacksonville. Probably bigger than I anticipated, and certainly more energetic and enthusiastic than I anticipated. I just thought after the third trip to Jacksonville in 8 years, I thought after Mullen leaving, I thought after Fitzgerald breaking his ankle, State's fan base and team would limp into this bowl game. They did not. It was a fun time. The pep rally Friday night, there were more State fans in Louisville. Joe Moorhead's coaches show, it was standing room only. Of course, the restaurant only gave us a room for about 75 people. There were about 300 in there. It was awful. It was something else, but it was a good time. I met probably 40 to 50 people that wanted pictures, that just wanted to talk about football, that just wanted to talk about this show. Michael Taylor, Josh Yeager, Jess Hardy, Chris Thomas, 8-year-old Peyton, Glenn Duncan, Mark West, Brandon Bell. The list goes on and on. I met and I know I've met some people who I haven't called out here, but it was an incredible weekend, an incredible time for the More Cowbell show. Listen, this show didn't exist a year ago. It didn't exist 6 months ago. But in that time, I'm averaging about 12,000 views a day right now, January 1st, 2018. And it's only going to get bigger and better in 2018, and thank you for that. Now, last week on this show, I sat here and said, I am very excited to see Mississippi State play again. I'm very excited to see Keaton Thompson get a chance to play. I'm very excited to see this team get a chance to grow one more time. But I do not think Mississippi State is going to beat Louisville. The coaching mismatch is too much. The players have been through too much, and Lamar Jackson's not going to lose in his last game. I was wrong. I am sorry to Greg Knox. I apologize to the interim coaching staff. I apologize to the players. I didn't see it coming, but you guys did. I didn't see it unfolding the way it did, but you guys did. You guys put in the work. You guys went out there and won a game despite every excuse in the world not to win it. Despite every reason in the world not to win that game, you went out and won it. You went out and closed 2017 on a winning note for Mississippi State. You showed Mississippi State fans what's possible next year, and you showed how good Mississippi State truly was this year. I didn't see how a patchwork coaching staff would get this team ready to play, but they did. From the moment that game kicked off Saturday afternoon, this team was ready to play. Louisville received the ball. They punted after, maybe 5 plays. And then Mississippi State, on their first 2 possessions, walked down the field and score. And that shows you how ready they were to play. Now, everything in the game, not just outside the game, in the game went against Mississippi State. Every break, Lamar Jackson fumbled twice. It miraculously bounced up to him. The officiating was embarrassingly bad. Some of the worst officiating I have ever seen, and I've seen a lot of Mississippi State football. It was worse even than 2017 Auburn game, which was wretched. That late hit out of bounds is one of the worst calls in the history of the sport, and it went against State. The Jeffrey Simmons roughing the passer call late in the game, one of the worst calls I've ever seen, went against Mississippi State. You had 4 or 5 calls go against State, and they never blinked. This team never got down. This team never got discouraged. When Louisville went ahead 24-17 or 21-17 and finally got the lead, I thought, well, State really gave it a nice effort, but it's going to come up short. Lamar Jackson's not going to lose this game. And again, I was wrong. And this team just kept coming and coming and coming. That freshman quarterback, he's a winner. That freshman quarterback is a winner. We'll get to him later. So many players and individual units deserve credit on this team. The defensive line deserves a whole lot of credit. Jeffrey Simmons, Montez Sweat, Gary Green, Fletcher Adams, Braxton Hoyette, the list goes on and on. Kobe Jones, they were in Lamar Jackson's face all day. They dominated Louisville's offensive line. Louisville couldn't run the ball unless it was Lamar Jackson breaking down and scrambling. Jackson probably hadn't faced that kind of pressure. He definitely hadn't faced that kind of athleticism on defense this year outside of Clemson. Jeffrey Simmons, probably going to be the best defensive player in the SEC next year, one of the best in the country. The defensive line deserves a lot of credit. The offensive line deserves a lot of credit. They were tough. They were physical all day long. They kept coming. The secondary, a unit that hasn't gotten much credit this year, that has struggled at times, that unit came through big time. Mark McLaurin with the game of his life. 10 tackles, 3 interceptions, and a forced fumble that was called a late hit out of bounds. He had the game of his life. Mark McLaurin was fantastic, and he wasn't the only one. Cam Dantzler was fantastic. Just across the board, positions, team, players just played great football, and they didn't let anything get to them. It was the kind of game that makes you proud to be a Mississippi State Bulldog fan, and we've had a lot of those lately. But I look back over the last 5 years, the last 10 years, and yeah, I have some of my favorite wins we have ever had in that stretch. This one is in that. This is one of my favorite wins we've had in a very long time. Just because of the circumstances, of the way we came out and took it, of the fact that it was with a freshman quarterback, of the fact that we just dominated and got 4 interceptions off a Heisman winner. And I saw State fans after the game saying Lamar Jackson's overrated. No, he's not. No, he is not. He is an incredible football player. He's a phenomenal college football player, and we beat him. State's defense beat him into submission. They knocked him down all day. They chased him down. They sacked him. They intercepted him. They beat a great college football player. He's not overrated. The defense he was playing against is underrated. Going into the game, I knew Mississippi State, to a man, was more talented than Louisville. I did know that. But I didn't think it would be enough. I just thought having the best player on the field would be enough for Louisville and the coaching mismatch. But there was no coaching mismatch. The coaching mismatch was, if anything, was on State's sideline. Louisville didn't know what to do. I underestimated how really wretched Peter Sirmon is, and I don't know how I did that. They looked lost for an entire half. They finally got it together a little bit, but that's the worst defensive coordinator in college football. And how he has a job gives me hope that I'll be on ESPN in about 5 minutes. Because him getting a job as a defensive coordinator at an FBS school should give us all hope. Go ahead and drop out of school in the 7th grade because you'll probably go to Harvard anyway. I just don't understand it. Keaton Thompson, we'll get to him again. This was a team win if I've ever seen it. The team had so much against it, they didn't care. They had so much going against it, they did not care. I stood on the sidelines during Lamar Jackson's last play. I tweeted out a video of it. And that team, just the entire team, 90 guys, whatever it was, 85 guys. Never seen a team that locked into each other and to the coaching staff. They all went up and hugged Greg Knox at the end. These guys are human beings. All right, Greg Knox is probably going to Florida soon. But these guys are human beings. He's been here 9 years. He gave it his all for Mississippi State. We'll get to Greg Knox later. It was very emotional. It was a very emotional scene down on the field. This team had every excuse to pack it in. They did not. They fought through. State could have won this game also by 21 points, but the calls that I mentioned, the bad breaks, State won this game. And it was just one of those games that I'll never forget. I'll never forget it. Good for Mississippi State. Good for Keaton Thompson. Good for Greg Knox. It was incredible. Let's get more to Keaton Thompson, though. We all watched the Egg Bowl, and we saw how tough it was to come into that environment after Nick Fitzgerald's ankle was pointing the wrong direction. Everyone was shell-shocked. And Keaton Thompson didn't win that game, but he played well in the second half. He played very well in the second half. And going back, it's easy to see that. At the time, I was so depressed I didn't care. That's the truth. At the time, I was so upset about the loss, I didn't want to look at any of them. But that's just me being an irrational idiot fan. Get that off the screen. Get that off the screen. At the time, I just didn't see. But then a month later, in Jacksonville, Florida, after 15 bowl practices, after knowing he was going to be the man, Keaton Thompson walked onto that field, shared it with a former Heisman winner, and never blinked. Didn't back down an inch. He Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson had terrible throws all day. Keaton Thompson had one bad throw. He had one bad throw. He had his receivers dropping the football on perfect throws 40 yards down the field. He had his receivers fumbling the football. He had the officials not giving him anything. But Keaton Thompson, you could tell after this game, the TaxSlayer Bowl, not only is he going to be special, he's going to be really special. That fourth quarter drive to tie the game and then take the lead, that fourth quarter drive was Dak-like. Let's just say it. Let's just say it like it is. The leadership and the poise and the we're going to win this game because I'm on this team, that was Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott didn't start full-time until he's a redshirt junior. You understand that? A redshirt junior is when he was the unquestioned starter for the first time. That's his fourth year. Keaton Thompson's a redshirt I'm sorry. Keaton Thompson's a true freshman. He was playing high school football 12 months ago. And he put Mississippi State on his back and stared down a Heisman winner. Do you know how special that is? Do you know how crazy, unique that is? Say what you want about Dan Mullen, and I know you guys say a lot. And I have plenty to say too. But this is not about Dan Mullen. This is about the quarterback position and what he left. Say what you want about him. He left Keaton Thompson. He got it right when he signed Dak Prescott. He got it right when he signed Nick Fitzgerald. And my goodness, did he get it right when he signed Keaton Thompson. He has left the quarterback position in great shape for Joe Moorhead. Joe Moorhead sat in a suite right beside the press box and watched Keaton Thompson put on the special performance. And I don't know. There's not going to be a quarterback controversy in 2018, I don't believe. I don't think there will be. Nick Fitzgerald's a fifth-year senior. But if there was, it would be hard to bet against Keaton Thompson because just look at the way people follow him. Now, Nick Fitzgerald's probably going to have a great year in 2018, and Keaton Thompson will be ready and be one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC in 19 and 20. But my goodness, what a quarterback room. What a quarterback room. It's something special. It is something special. I just don't see any drop-off from Fitzgerald to Keaton Thompson when it's Keaton Thompson's time. And if, on the 1% chance, Joe Moorhead opens it up and says, listen, you're a fifth-year senior, but I wasn't here. And then that would be one of the most entertaining quarterback competitions you've ever seen. Ultimately, State has two outstanding quarterbacks. Nick Fitzgerald, when he is fully healthy, is one of the most unique weapons in the Southeastern Conference. So is Keaton Thompson. Think about that. And not only that, Keaton Thompson walked into Jacksonville, went up against the Heisman winner, and won the football game 31-27. How many quarterbacks in the history of Mississippi State University can say that? Not very many. Greg Knox is somebody that I underestimated. I underestimated how hard this team would play for him. What a phenomenal job by the coaching staff. What a terrific execution. What a terrific job under the circumstances by this coaching staff. Greg Knox, I did not know you had that in you. Brett Elliott, I did not know you had that in you. Again, this coaching staff had every excuse, but they didn't care. Because they've been around these players, they weren't going out losers. They weren't walking off that field the losing team. They weren't leaving with an 8-5 record instead of a 9-4 record. They just weren't going to do it. And it didn't matter how it happened. When the chips were down, our guys were tougher, better, more ready, and were winners. They were much more ready. They were much tougher than Louisville's players. And that's with an interim coaching staff that knew they weren't going to be here. That's the measure of a man. I mean, you look at Greg Knox, you look at Brett Elliott, you look at all those guys, and they gave it everything they had. They had Mississippi State on their chest, on their logo for one more game, and they were not going out losers. And I credit them. That is amazing. That is awesome. That is awesome. I don't care where Greg Knox coaches next year. He has got a fan in Brandon Walker. Period. And I can say that about the rest of them. And I'm sure on the Facebook Live, guys are saying, are any of these coaches coming back? I don't think so. I think Brian Baker is probably going to be back. But that's a conversation for another day. The offensive coaching, I thought, was perfect. 55 runs to 20 passes. Listen, Dan Mullen left the receiver position. I talked about how well he left the quarterback position stock. He should be fired somewhere because of what he did at the receiver position. Keaton Thompson probably left 80 yards passing on the field because of poor receiving play the other day. But the offensive coaching was perfect. It went away from that. Just pound it with a big offensive line with Aries Williams, with Kylan Hill. Pound it with Keaton Thompson, 27 carries. And by the fourth quarter, Louisville didn't want to tackle us. Louisville wasn't tough enough. Louisville was running from contact. This coaching staff played to Mississippi State's strength. And by the fourth quarter, the physicality of Mississippi State had won that football game. It was just a matter of time. Greg Knox, Brett Elliott, Brian Baker, Ron English, others, I tip my hat to you. That was one heck of a job. 2018 coming up quick. What a start. What a momentum boost. This is a seriously good football team. All right? This is an underrated football team this year. They're going to finish 17th or 18th. Outside of the Ole Miss loss, which is inexcusable, this is a top 12 or 13 team. And I mean that. You tell me how many teams in this country have a better defensive line than Montez Sweat than Jeffrey Simmons. It's a very, very short list. They're probably all playing today. You tell me who's going to be as deep at quarterback as Mississippi State next year. I'll wait. I will wait. Who's going to be as deep at running back as Mississippi State next year? I'll wait. Alabama, Georgia. Again, very short list of teams. Running backs for days in 2018. Quarterback is loaded. The wide receiver position has been restocked. If you can get one or two players out of that immediately, you've really got something. State should start in the top 15 in 2018. I think it's a top 10 team. And you say pump the brakes. I'm not going to pump the brakes. You've got the best defensive player in the SEC in Jeffrey Simmons. You've got a great quarterback, no matter if it's Nick Fitzgerald or Keaton Thompson. You've got a senior running back in Aries Williams. You've got an offensive line who mauls people. And who got better, frankly, at halftime the other day when Greg Island took over from Martinez Rankin. Martinez Rankin's a top 3-round pick. And Greg Island steps in, doesn't miss a beat. 2 redshirt freshman tackles, Darrell Williams, mauls people, Deion Calhoun. I mean, just players all up and down that offensive line. Darrell Williams could have been arrested for some of the things he was doing to Louisville's defensive line. And I was a witness. I could have been deposed. We should be a top 15 team. Now, don't be surprised if we get the SEC Media Days in Atlanta and we're picked 5th in the West or 4th in the West. I don't think you can possibly pick Mississippi State behind Ole Miss, Arkansas, or A&M. Somebody will try to do it, though. But I think looking at the SEC next year, number 1, Alabama, number 2, Georgia, in some order. I think number 3 is a fight between Auburn and Mississippi State. Let's give Auburn the nod right now because they got the quarterback coming back and they beat us 49-10 this year. But State is pushing them. The State's better than LSU next year. LSU's replacing every skill player they got. Quarterback, wide receivers, running backs. And they're coached by Ed Orgeron. Joe Moorhead, you are up. It's your team now. You've been handed the keys to a pretty fast car. And I think you're a damn good coach. I'm excited. Montez Sweat, will he come back? Even if he doesn't, I think State's still really, really good on the defensive line. I don't look for him to come back. I just don't think you turn down NFL money. But if he gets a bad draft grade, come back. If he does come back, I mean, what do you have, 11.5 sacks this year? He's a monster. He is an absolute monster. But I don't think, if he left, I don't think you could look at that as a negative. That's a positive when guys leave early for the pros. That's a positive for your program. And you got to get in that mindset. But still, Chauncey Rivers coming in next year, Brian Cole coming in next year, Jaquarius Landrews coming in next year, Marcus Murphy probably coming in on defense next year. So much there. Today's top 5. Top 5 individual performances from the TaxSlayer Bowl. Number 5, Cam Dantzler was outstanding. He had an interception. He did a good job at cornerback, really showed a glimpse of the future at cornerback, a redshirt freshman. Has struggled at times, struggled against Ole Miss, but was very good the other day. Number 4, Jeffrey Simmons. And if we did this every game, he would have a permanent spot in the top 5. You can't block him. You can't block Jeffrey Simmons. He's the most dominant defensive player State's had, I'm going to say, since before Fletcher Cox. He's been better as a college player than Fletcher Cox, than Chris Jones. He's been better than them. And you see how much money they're making. Number 3, Montez Sweat. Can't block him either. Can't block him. I don't even know what to say. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, and he was a difference maker for this defense. People say Todd Grantham was the biggest difference maker, jumped up 100 spots in defense this year. That's right. But Montez Sweat might have been second. He might have been second behind Todd Grantham. I'm not sure Todd Grantham goes that far without Montez Sweat. Number 2, Mark McLaurin. I know he won the MVP. I know he did. He was incredible. 3 interceptions, forced fumble that wasn't called, 10 tackles. He was all over the field. What a great start to his final season next year. But I have to give number 1 to Keaton Thompson. True freshman. Stares down Lamar Jackson, doesn't care. 3 rushing touchdowns, rushes for 150 yards, passes for 100 and whatever yards. Was just terrific and was just a winner. He was just a winner, and that's what you wanted to see. How tough are you? How are you going to let the Egg Bowl affect you? It's your game now. It's your team now for this one day. What are you going to do? Keaton Thompson showed you. The future is very, very bright at Mississippi State. On the podcast, I'll drop you off here. Thank everybody for being here. Facebook Live, I'm coming to you. My name is Brandon Walker. You've been listening to More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. Oh, man. That was fun. That was a good time. 214 people here. All right, Facebook Live. What do you want to talk about? Keaton. Kenan Renee Williams. Yeah. So many players. I could have done a top 15 of the best individual performances from the TaxSlayer Bowl. I could have done all of that, but I didn't. Top 5, just Jeffrey Simmons was unblockable. Montez Sweat was unblockable. Cam Dantzler was fantastic. Keaton Thompson was incredible. Aries Williams was unstoppable. 12 carries, 88 yards. In the stadium, I didn't know why he was only getting 12 carries, but I understand he tweaked an ankle injury or something. But I didn't mention that on the show. But I think Aries Williams has shown how far and away he is the best running back we got. Nick Gibson is not on the same plane as Aries Williams. He's just not. Kylan Hill is going to be. He's going to be. And he showed potential. I think next year it's got to be a 1-2 punch of Aries and Kylan. I don't think Gibson really is on their level. I think it's Aries and Kylan, and then whoever the quarterback is. That's your running game. I've been telling people about Keaton Thompson all year. OL play was great. Corey Gargis. Yeah, it was. Somebody says they can't believe that offensive, that out of bounds hit. Yeah, that was the worst call. That was the worst call I've ever seen. Will Knox stay? No, he will not. Greg Knox will not be on the coaching staff next year. This was the best pass defense we've ever had. Where's it been? Well, State, people say State had bad pass defense this year. And yeah, in certain games they did. Against Auburn they did. Against Ole Miss they did. State was 13th in the country in passing yards allowed this year. So while it definitely struggled against Alabama, against Ole Miss, against Auburn, it definitely had its moments where it was bad. It had a lot of moments where it was really, really good too. Nobody seems to notice that. You don't finish top 13 in the country in pass yards unless you're pretty good. Vicky Ray is my mother. Hello, mother. My mom is now listening. She would like to see Thomas. You want to send Tommy back in here? So not the best defense, something. Dantzler is fast as lightning. Jared Mansour says, what are your thoughts on the Green Bay receivers coach coming in to coach our receivers and call the offense? Well, I think that's a professional coach. That's a very, very, hello, Landshark. That's a very good coach coming in. Come on in, Tommy. There's my son, Thomas. We're off center here, buddy. All right, there you go. Your foot's on my head. Okay. Is your shirt white? No? What was that? What was he asking for that for? Murphy needs to be the return guy, and we'd love to see him on offense, but we need our best athletes on D, says Steven Shaver. I think Murphy can play wherever you feel like he needs to play. Cornerback looks pretty good. Cornerback and Marcus Murphy looks like a good fit. Got to be quiet. My son Thomas. Thomas is over here. Thomas Brandon Walker Jr. is joining me on the show today. We played great, but Louisville isn't an SEC kind of team. We should have beat them by more. If you want to be negative in a storm of positive, you can do that. State won the game. And Louisville, to say they're not an SEC team is to really pump up what the SEC was this year. Is Louisville better than Alabama? No. Are they better than Kentucky, South Carolina, Missouri, all these other SEC bowl teams that can't win? Yeah, they're a lot better. They're a lot better. I can't believe South Carolina is back there playing the Outback Bowl right now. State would beat South Carolina this year by 30. They're the worst 8-4 team in SEC history. Cam Dantzler caught Lamar Jackson from behind, says Burnell McGee. Yeah, he did. Buster Bones says, welcome, Thomas. Tell Daddy to go the same barber you do. Look up. Look up, Thomas. Look, Thomas. Take your head. Okay. Look at the camera. Over there. They like your hair better than mine, apparently. Hail State from Loosedale, Mississippi. Can Landshark babysit me? Okay, Kenny. Calm down. Calm down, Kenny. No, I got it. South Carolina is down at the half. Yeah, they're going to lose. Hey, SEC, we got you. All right? Everybody else can go out and lose. State's got you. To down Louisville is a hack to our efforts, says Tim Franks. I agree. They won't be in the top 25, says Steve Chambly. Who are you talking about? Louisville? Don't talk to Siri. Are you talking to Siri right now? I'm on the show. I got to do this. Remember that time Kellenberger said MSU was the worst 9-4 team in SEC history? No, I don't remember anything Mr. Kellenberger says. Irrelevant here. Auburn is down by 7-2. That's not good. Drove from Richmond, Virginia to watch this great win, says Jason K. Rice. All right, so let's talk about Jacksonville. If you went to Jacksonville, my goodness. I went to the Bearded Pig to eat barbecue. Oh, my God.
Good?
Oh, my God. It was incredible. It was so good.
What'd you get?
I got brisket.
Ooh.
I got a half pound of brisket
Ooh.
and some macaroni and cheese, and then after that I was hungry. So I got I got homemade smoked sausage, and it was the best smoked sausage I've ever had in my life. I love smoked sausage. Ever.
Wow.
I love smoked sausage. It was to the point where when I get done today, I'm calling that restaurant and saying, "Where did y'all get that sausage?" Because if you get it from somewhere and cook it, I would like to order my sausage from that place. I never ate seafood. I went to Clark's Fish Camp. They had an hour wait, and then I went to.
Can't wait an hour?
No, because I had to be downtown for state pep rally.
Ah.
Lamar Jackson is good. He is very good. He is very, very good. What was the best meal you had in Jacksonville? Buster Bones. Good question. It was exactly what I just no. Told you the Bearded Pig was very good. What else did I have? No, don't worry about it. It was it's good. Chicago pizza at the Landing was great. Boy, I walked past that place like 3 times. And they had like old arcade games like Super Mario Brothers. I should have eaten there. We left there. I ate at that Irish pub, McCool's Irish Pub. It wasn't very good. State's band at the pep rally was great, says Jason K. Rice. Less Terp, more Land Shark, says Jared Mansour.
I haven't even said anything today. I've said like 6 words.
It looks like State will be the only SEC Bowl victory. No, I think either Alabama or Georgia is going to win. I like Alabama and Oklahoma to win later today. I'm surprised Auburn's getting beat by UCF. Auburn will find a way to lose despite being more talented than people a lot, though. They've already done that a couple of times this year. The child is the star of the show. I don't dispute that at all. I brought my daughter on here. She sat there just as quietly, just as calm as she could. And now here's Thomas. And Thomas doesn't sit quietly many places. Bearded Pig sounds like a sketchy name, Kevin McGee. It does sound like a sketchy name, but it was good. It was just a mile from the stadium. It was very, very good. The dogs feasted on Cardinal tastes like chicken, says Danny Pinter. If our secondary played that way against Alabama, we would have won that one. No doubt. No doubt. Why did Lovett decommit? Why do you think? Just take a wild guess. I'm not gonna talk about Lovett today decommitting. It's just not a big deal. State just won a big time game. All right. State just won a big time game. I'm not going to talk about some pre-orchestrated flip that the people that live to flip. I mean, if that's what you live to do, you live a sad, pathetic life. That kid is adorable. Well, I wish I agreed right now. He is so precious. Boys aren't supposed to sit still. Well, I'm sitting still, Bonnie. All right? I'm sitting perfectly still. I enjoy sitting still. It beats moving. Oh, no, not all the time, right? Huh? Fist bump? Okay. Is Nick in trouble of losing his starting job? I don't think so, but I also wouldn't totally rule it out. Because, yeah, he's a fifth-year senior, but he's a fifth-year senior who's never played under this coaching staff. Maybe this coaching staff has new ideas. I don't know. I would say there's a 99% chance Nick Fitzgerald's a starting quarterback next year. Is that reasonable enough? If we're the only SEC win, I will laugh. I really will. I'll laugh too. It'll be funny. I'll be entertained by that. Did you break the table? Okay. This table costs $9. We bought it at a yard sale. In Americus, Georgia. We bought this at a yard sale. There we go. I don't care either, but I'm just saying. Why not move Nick to tight end? Okay, Tim Franks. Let's not go overboard. Nick's a quarterback. Nick is a quarterback. Thomas is sealing his fate for a return trip to work with Dad. Yeah, this is a one-time thing here. Our defensive front will be one of the best in SEC history as long as Sweat returns. Harvey Smith. It'll be very, very good. I don't think about one of the best in the SEC history. I mean, Alabama's probably got the top 5 there. I don't think Sweat's going to return, though. I don't see why he would, unless he gets a draft grade that just surprises me. I look at him, I think 15-year NFL defensive end. That's what I look at. That's what I see. I hope I'm wrong. I've been wrong plenty before and recently. His passing needs to improve, says Ken and Renee Williams. Of course he does. Of course it does. Your passing always needs to. Okay, that's quite enough. Oh boy, Thomas Brandon Walker, you're my buddy. You're my guy. Red shirt KT. No. Where are you guys getting these ideas? Where are you guys getting these ideas? Absolutely not. Will Nick play in the NFL? I don't love his chances, but we'll see. We'll see. There are worse quarterbacks in the NFL right now, so possibly. I catch all kinds of hell being a dog fan in Texas. I rubbed in that beating we gave to Texas A&M, says Joe Marie. Should we be asking if Fitzgerald is going to be our starting quarterback? I don't think so, says Shirley Rigby Sanders. Yeah, I think Nick will probably be this. Okay. Sit down. Sit down. Do you want to talk? Think of one sentence to say to the people out there, and I'll let you say it. What would you like to tell the people out there?
One more bad answer, I'm going to send you a raw pig.
What was that? Does it send us a raw pig?
If I give one more bad answer, he's going to send us a raw pig.
Nice.
He's not very bright. You're pretty smart though, right? Okay, that's not. Sit down, and we'll get through the last 3 minutes. Going to be something next year to see with our receivers. Yeah, the receivers, an immediate upgrade of talent, and boy, do we need it. Boy, do we need it. This is the most entertaining show you've ever had, just Kevin Fowler. I'm trying, Kevin. I'm trying. This was a much better idea in on paper than it is in practice. A much better idea on paper. Was that English? Yes. It was. It was. It's Nick's team. Key will get his turn. It's Nick's to lose. He will just have to play bad decision. I don't know how we know. I don't know how you know. Like, yeah, it should be Nick's team based on, him being a fifth-year senior, but it's not like the coaches have ever coached Nick Fitzgerald and Keaton Thompson. The coaches are all new. I think people are discounting that. What if they come in and are impressed by Keaton Thompson's work ethic more than Nick's? I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas. Just don't worry about it until August. I'm pretty sure Nick Fitzgerald's a starting quarterback next year, but I know that Keaton Thompson, it's going to be awful hard to keep him on the bench as well. Great problem to have. Hattiesburg checking in. Hello, Louise Eshman Jackson. All right. This may be the best show of 2018. Kim Neely says, what is your real job? I'm thinking after the show I'm going to have to find one. My real job is doing the show. That's my job. I get paid for this. I know. I'm as shocked as you are. The Brandon Walker Heckler Special. Will we make a bowl game next year? Is that a serious question, Randy Murray? I think absolutely State makes a bowl game, and probably a pretty good one. Probably going to be playing on New Year's Day 2019 if I had to guess. Will Nick go to Florida? No, he will not. Why can't Brian and Bob do a show on New Year's? They don't love you as much as I do. They don't. Only way KT starts is if Nick doesn't recover from that injury. Matt Weisinger. That's his opinion. Auburn looks terrible. Yeah, Auburn will do that to you. Auburn has more talent than maybe anybody. They're not all that well coached. They are at times, but they'll sleepwalk in a hurry. What I was saying is, no, we shouldn't be asking if Nick is going to be starting quarterback. Yes, he will be starting quarterback. Yes, we'll make a bowl game. Lost a big recruit defensive tackle. Hope we can fill it in with a good one. If you lose a guy that flips to Ole Miss, you were probably better off losing him. How about that? That is my one sentence. Okay. I love you, buddy. I love you. Just chill out. Who are the starting linebackers for 2018? No Leo. I don't understand what you're saying. Leo is going to be a starting linebacker. Willie Gay is terrific. Errol Thompson might be the best linebacker on the team. Harvey, you're asking some odd questions. I got to be honest, Harvey. I feel like you might be an Ole Miss fan in here. Reg Callahan says I won't read his comments because I'm white. Calm. I just haven't seen it. There's a lot of comments, Reg. Give me a comment and I'll read it. Best MSU Bowl you have attended. That one right there. Been to the Orange Bowl, been to the Liberty Bowl, been to the Belk Bowl. That one right there is my favorite. Easy. No problem. I didn't go to the Snow Bowl. That would be a hard one to beat, but I did not go to the Snow Bowl. I have a feeling we will make a strong push for SEC West champs next season. It's very possible. Keaton greater than Lamar. On Saturday, he was every bit his equal. And he was making his first start ever. It's almost like a changing of the guard. Leo, Errol, Gay, and Lane, says Houston Everett. Nick is an NFL tight end, not QB. That's what I meant. Well, you're still wrong. Tim. He's not an NFL tight end. Why do people want to move every quarterback we sign to tight end? How many all-SEC quarterbacks do we have to sign before you realize they're quarterbacks? Not 80, but not 90 either. Are we thin on DT in 2018? Say it again.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. The defensive line in 2018 might be better than any in the SEC. Jeffrey Simmons, Braxton Hoyette, Kobe Jones. No, we're not thin on defensive tackles in 2018. Does McLaurin have 1 or 2 years left to play? He has 1. He was a junior this season. He has 1 left to play. All right. Why did you bring him back out here? How many SEC wins for men's basketball to make the tournament? I would think at least 12, and I don't think it's possible. I would think at least 12. I don't see it. Tomorrow night's big for that basketball team. If they can beat Arkansas, it's a great start. They can start 3-2, 4-1. It'd be huge. I don't see it, but we'll see. Chauncey Rivers will be good next year, yeah. I literally watch all of our games to find areas of improvement, and Leo was the weakness. Okay. All right. Kyle Fogarty, we are stacked on the defensive line. Very good point. All right. I had a good time. I like talking back and forth. So the ones that brought up stuff that I disagreed with, please come back. We'll disagree again. I love it. This is the first show of 2018. It'll be the last show of 2018 that includes one of Brandon Walker's kids. This is the third one I've had on the show, and I'm not sure the fourth one's ever going to make it. So, until next time, it'll be just me tomorrow. We'll be back. We're back on normal time tomorrow, right? 10:45 Central Time? We're back on normal time tomorrow?
I'm going to assume so.
Yeah. So we'll be back on normal schedule. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank my son for having a good time today. We're going to go eat some lunch. Until next time, my name is Brandon Walker. You've been watching More Cowbell, the Mississippi State podcast presented by SEC Country. Help.